Hello guys, welcome back to another Photoshop tutorial. By end of this video, I will guarantee you will learn how to avoid time-consuming repetitive tasks, and also you will learn how to automate anything in Photoshop by using actions in Photoshop. This workflow will surely increase your productivity by automating any actions you perform in Photoshop. This video will provide you many useful tips and tricks to save your time and help you focus on delivering your work super fast. Step 1. How to create an action in Photoshop. Step 2. How to apply an action to the image in Photoshop. Step 3. How to automate an action to the selected images without opening them in Photoshop. Step 4. How to create an action to remove the background of an image and apply the same action to the bunch of images. Step 5. How to update an action in Photoshop without losing the previous steps. Step 6. How to add a watermark to bunch of images quickly in Photoshop without opening them individually. Step 7. How to resize the images in bulk using image processor script in Photoshop. Step 8. How to create a droplet to perform an action in Photoshop without even opening the files. Step 9. How to combine images into one PDF presentation in Photoshop. Step 10. How to create a thumbnail preview of your photos quickly and share with your client with all the files and the file names below it. Okay, let's begin. Let's say you are a model and you receive hundreds of photos from your photographer. You wonder how to color correct all photos quickly, or how to easily manipulate all photos by adding some filters or some effects on it, or you wonder how to quickly resize all the photos. There are tools in Photoshop called Actions and Automate. So what is Actions in Photoshop? Actions in Photoshop is simply recording everything you do in Photoshop and store them as an action. That can be applied to any of the images by simply applying that action. So what is Automate in Photoshop? It is an automated process by using any actions you created within Photoshop. Look at this example. Let us open this image and do something in Photoshop and store them as an action. To do that, go to Window and click Actions. It opens up this window with default Actions folder with some pre-built actions in it. Let's not worry about it. Let us create an action by pressing here. Now you give an action a name. If you want to use any function key as a shortcut key, you can give it here. Like for example F1, F2 or F3. If you press that button, that will play that action. Let's keep that for now and let's press record. Now notice here, recording is on. Now let's create a layer and fill it with some color. For example, red color. Now if you notice this action, you would see the actions which we did and it recorded everything. Basically, we created a layer, we filled it with red color, and we applied an opacity. Initially, I applied 40% and I changed it to 50%. So it stored everything. Okay, click here to stop. Now it stored every action we did with this image and stored them as an action. Now let's do some proper action. Look at these image dimensions. It has 3200 pixels. It has 3600 pixels. Look at this, it has 3800 pixels. Each image has different dimensions. So let's say we want to make all the images to be of the same width. Let's say 1080 pixels. So come to Photoshop and let's delete the old action we created. Now let's create a new action. Give a name to the action and click record. And now it started recording. Now go to image size. It is 3219 pixels and you enter here 1080. As the image ratio is locked, so height value is automatically changed. Now the image has been resized. Now let's save this action and close it. And now stop the action. So what this action is, it actually resized the image width to 1080 pixels it saved the image and it closed it. Now if you look at the first image, the width has been changed. Now look at the second image. It has 3600 something pixels. Now let us apply this action to the image we opened. Select the image and come here and press play button. It applied this action and closed the second image by itself. Do the same for all the other images. Now if you look at the image dimensions, it changed the image width to 1000 pixels. Now let us see how to change the width of all the images without opening them in Photoshop using Automate. So let us copy these images and create a folder and paste it here. If you look at these images, all of these images has different dimensions. Okay, come to Photoshop, click File, Automate and click Batch. Now this window opens up. So if you notice here, the action set is default actions. That's where our action is stored, and the action name is action 1. Now source folder, let us select the folder we created. Now this action would stop for any errors. Now click the destination folder as the same folder. If you want to give any file names and whatever settings here, you can do it here. And click OK. Now look at this. It opened all of the images from this folder and resized them. And all the images are resized to 1080 pixels wide. So that's it. So you can create any action and simply automate them. Let's say if you have thousands of images, you can simply create an action and apply them with the simple automation process. So while it is automating, you can go grab a coffee and come back and you will see it does the job automatically. That's it. Now let's say your client has asked to remove the background of hundreds of images. It would be a very tedious process to do it individually. So let us look at how to create an action to remove the background of an image, or how to remove the background from a bunch of images without opening them individually. Let us see how to do that to these images. Let's put these images into a new folder called folder 2. Let's open these images. Let us create another action and name the action as action 2. Now click select and mask here. This window opens up. Simply click select subject and click refine hair and leave the other settings as it is and click OK. There is a nice video about how to remove background using select subject. I will leave a link in the description so you can watch it. Now save this as a PNG file and close it. Now stop the action. So if you look at it, we selected an image and we did some masking and we saved and closed. Now let us automate this. Okay, we can close all these images. Okay, come back to the file menu, automate and click batch. Now select action 2 and source folder as the folder we created and destination folder as the same folder. Now watch it. It opens and performs the action and saves and closes. Look at these images. It removed the background of these images just by automating. Isn't it amazing? Imagine if you have to remove the background from hundreds of images. It will be very tedious. You can simply automate it. It saves so much of your time and efforts. Now let us look at one more action and see how to update the action in Photoshop without losing the previous steps. Let us copy these images and put them in a folder. Open an image. Now select the action you want to update. You can actually delete the save and close steps. Now apply an action until this step. Okay, so it did the action. Now you click record. So it is going to keep the previous steps and start to record whatever we are going to do now. Now let us desaturate the image and save them and close it. Now stop the action. So it added these steps to the action which we created before And now you can save and close. Let us look at how to apply an action to change the images into black and white quickly without opening them individually. So let us apply this action to these images. Come to File menu, Automate, and click Batch. Now select Action 2, and the source folder is the same folder which we created, and destination folder to the same folder, and click OK. Now watch it. It opened all the images and removed the background and made them as black and white, and saved it and closed it. Wow, isn't it amazing? Let's say if you have hundreds of images where you want to remove the background and make them into black and white, simply create one action, apply them, boom, it's there. Now let us look at how to add a watermark on images quickly in Photoshop without opening them individually. Let us copy these images and put them in a folder. Now open one image and select the action 2. Now this time, instead of deleting these save and close, you can simply untick these steps. Now you apply the action. Now let us add a watermark on this image. So before we do that, click record. So from here we will start to record our actions. Open the watermark file, copy, and come back to the original image and paste it. Now merge the layers and stop the action. Now untick the save and close. So basically these steps have been stored as an action. Come to the file menu, automate, and click batch. Now select action 2 and source folder as the folder which we created, and destination folder as the same folder, and click OK. Now if you notice, it does all the steps in the action 2 and done. So come back to the folder and you check this. Wow, it did all the steps and it even added a watermark. Imagine if you have to do this to hundreds of images. It will be so tedious for you to do it, right? So automating an action is so useful in Photoshop. There is another inbuilt image resizing script in Photoshop that is called image processor. Let us look at how to resize the images using image processor script in Photoshop without opening the images manually. Each image has a different dimension. Let us copy these images and put them in a folder. Now come back to Photoshop, File, Scripts, and click Image Processor. This opens up this window. Here you will select the input folder as the folder which we created, and save the processed image into the same folder. Now save the image as JPEG. Let us say we resize all of them to be 1080 pixels. It is not going to crop the images into 1080 by 1080. It takes one of these factors, either width or height, to resize to 1080 pixels. Now if you want to include any action here, and you can include it and run it. Now let's skip that. Let us only experiment the image cropping. Okay, now click run. Watch it. It opened and resized and put them into a JPEG folder. It resized all of these images to be 1080 pixels as height. Cool, isn't it? Now let us look at an interesting one. We looked at creating an action and applied them manually, and we also looked at automating using the batch processing. Now let us look at a droplet. What is a droplet? It is a kind of an application with actions inbuilt with it. So what is the use of a droplet? Let us say you want to give this droplet to your team. So if tens and thousands of images are being processed by your team, and you want all of those images output to have exact same action with exact same settings. So you can simply do that by creating a droplet and send it across to your team. So go to File, Automate, and click Create Droplet. And first let's save the droplet and give it a name. Now select the action and select the destination folder and click OK. Now if you look at it, it created a droplet here. So this is a kind of an application. Now if you select an image and drops over this droplet, it opens Photoshop, applied the action and saved it in the edited final folder. Now you drag the entire folder and drops over the droplet. Look at it now. It opens and applies an action and saves and close by itself. Now you watch the final edited folder. It keeps adding the final edited images. How wonderful it is, isn't it? It saves so much of your time and efforts. You can do this to tens and thousands of images so easily. Now let us look at some useful inbuilt automate actions in Photoshop. You wonder how to combine all images into one PDF presentation in Photoshop? Okay, let us say you wanted to combine these opened images into Photoshop as one PDF file. Okay, click File, then Automate and click PDF presentation. So it adds all the opened files in this list. You can reshuffle the images or sort by name, whatever you want. Now click a multi-page document and you can play with the quality here. Now click Save. Now if you notice this, it combined all the images as one PDF presentation. Very simple and very effective. Let's say your client has asked you to give him a list of images you have. You wonder how to give all the images as a thumbnail or a contact sheet with the file names under it. It is so easy. Photoshop has a built-in tool called Contact Sheet. Now go to File, click Automate and click Contact Sheet. This opens up this window. Now select the source folder and give the folder as an input. Now document settings like number of columns, rows, and you can give more settings, page sizes and everything. Now click OK. Now look at this. It creates a contact sheet with an image and the file name under it. So cool. This helps a lot when you want your clients to have a snapshot or a thumbnail of all the images which you have and let them tick and select which one to go with. And that helps a lot. Now save them and that's it. That's it guys. I hope this was very helpful. If you like this video, I would appreciate if you give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. That would give me a motivation to do more videos. And if you specifically want to know any trick, kindly do let me know in the comments below. I will try my best to make a video. Thanks for watching.